If you're like the many students that are and former students that are suffering from the crushing effects of student debt, the Trump regime has a job for you. Join the Gestapo. I kid you not. Last week, the Department of Homeland Security announced that it will begin offering student loan forgiveness and repayment options to new ICE agents, along with a $50,000 signing bonus. Wow. This announcement comes as the Trump administration works to limit the public service loan forgiveness program for groups that the president, doesn't like. That's right. That's the reality of the situation. He doesn't like these groups. And so, loan forgiveness? We're not going to forgive your loans. Now, since 2007, borrowers employed by the government or nonprofit organizations serving a wide range of public interest causes have been eligible through forgiveness using the PSLF. However, back in July last month, the Department of Education began to alter the deal. Okay, altering the rules, changing the rules to exclude certain employers in accordance with Trump's executive order restoring public service loan forgiveness. Now, this order claimed that the loan forgiveness has misdirected tax dollars into activist organizations that not only fail to serve the public interest, but actively harm our national security and American values, sometimes through criminal means. That is one hell of a statement. They're hurting national security and our American values. And they're criminal. What? Where's the evidence for that?
Just forget about the evidence.
Trust us, bro. Trust us. We just don't like them, okay? Under the revised rules, nonprofits, and this is very, very clear when you look at the groups that are being targeted here. One group that helps transgender youth access gender-affirming care, going to get cut off. Not only that, but attorneys who provide legal assistance to undocumented immigrants also being cut off. It's according to a press release from the Department of Education. Of course. So, yeah, it's very, very obvious what's going on here. Experts in higher education and student debt told The Intercept that the administration is deploying their financial aid system as a tool to advance their political agenda, punish perceived enemies, and to reward allies. In fact, Persis Yu, Deputy Executive Director and Managing Counsel at the Student Borrower Protection Center, said this, quote, "This just shows the length the Trump administration will go to weaponize public service loan forgiveness and debt more broadly to achieve their fascist objectives." Yeah. And look, this isn't surprising to me. It shouldn't be surprising to you, given the history of student debt. In this country. Student debt has been weaponized since the Reagan administration in order to help their political friends and punish their political enemies. Look, for example, amid nationwide campus protests against Vietnam, then California Governor Ronald Reagan and his allies had slashed the budget for public education, forcing them to charge tuition. These are for colleges. They argue that the students had become too radical. Roger A. Freeman, who is Reagan's education advisor, said this, quote, "We are in danger of producing an educated proletariat. That's dynamite." And he doesn't mean it in a good way. Especially, we have to be selective on who we allow to be educated. Meaning rich people. Okay. The children of rich people. Ones who are not going to upset the status quo. Non-minorities. Those are the people that they want to get educated. They do not want educated minorities. And they do not want people who will challenge the status quo. I mean,
Oh my God, he admitted.
it's right there. We don't want educated workers because educated workers, well, I mean, they're harder to control. They're harder to control. So we're going to load them up with debt to make sure that we can control them. That's what it has always been about. It's not about being responsible. No, a responsible country would ensure that students have the resources available to become the next, generation of workers, next generation of business owners, to actually make this country better. They don't want that. They don't want this country to be better. They want this country to be worse. They want workers to be controlled, easily controlled. And what's one of the main drivers of doing that? Debt. Debt makes people desperate, and that makes them easier to be taken advantage of, easier to control them. Okay? That's always what it's been about. Always, always. They are following, the Trump administration is following that playbook. And by the way, one of the other reasons why this government, and I'm talking about all the Democratic and Republican administrations over the years since Ronald Reagan, since they defunded public universities and started doing the tuition model. One of the major reasons that it continued like that is because the military loved using that as a recruitment tool. Okay? Targeting, once again, minorities with student debt or people that didn't have the means to be able to afford to go to college. Targeting them and saying, well, if you join the military and murder people overseas in our wars for profit, we will pay for your education. How about that? Or we'll not leave you with as much debt. It's absolutely sickening. And look, this administration just continues to follow that playbook, only even more so, even more blatantly. Okay. Now, that's the thing. They're doing this after they did everything they could to crush other ways of being able to afford student loans or to get some sort of relief from the crushing debt. They had the Supreme Court, which paused the SAVE plan, the income-based repayment plan implemented by the Biden administration, which, again, look, I don't think it went far enough, especially their efforts to try to do student loan relief. But, I mean, you can't argue that they didn't try. They did put that forward. They were going to help with some of student loan debt. They should have went for broke and tried to cancel it all, but they didn't because that's, normal Democrat incompetence for you. So, look, they still tried to do something, and it was still too much for Republicans who crushed it. The Supreme Court who crushed it. Okay. Look, not only that, but after the Supreme Court put a stop on it, Trump's big, beautiful bill eliminated it. And that's it. They eliminated it, got rid of it. As of July 1st, it will be completely gone. And of course, there will be some repayment options, but they'll be terrible. And that's kind of the point. On Friday, the Department of Education also resumed charging interest on their SAVE plan loans. So, on top of that, spending bill also created new limits on federal borrowing for graduate students and parents taking out loans on behalf of their kids, meaning families and people attending higher cost educational programs such as medical school will likely have to take up even higher interest private loans, which I'm sure just delights Wall Street. They're licking their chops. They're like, oh, yes, we're going to get so much money from interest. It's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be terrible for our country, but it's going to be great for us, our pocketbooks. That's all we care about. So there's that. Sarah Partridge, Associate Director of Higher Education at the Center for American Progress, said, as a result, quote, we're going to see a wave of defaults happening. And we're going to see more people who can't afford their payments. So let me just address young people, right? The young people who voted for Trump specifically. Those people who thought, oh man, everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be so much better. My economic future is going to be awesome with Trump. He's going to do all the great things. It's going to help us. We're going to get good jobs, and the price of housing is going to go down and all that stuff. Nope. None of that's happening. And in fact, you're going to be paying more. So, I mean, do you feel good yet? Do you feel like you're winning? I'm pretty sure you don't. Because ain't nobody winning unless you're incredibly wealthy already. That's the reality of the situation. And to be fair, a lot of those Gen Z people who voted for Donald Trump, even though we were screaming from the rooftops, they're millennial elders who are so uncool, because we're absolutely uncool, yeah. We were telling you the whole time, hey, don't vote for the dipshit. Don't vote for the moron. Okay, this guy, he's lying to you. He is lying. He does nothing but lie. No, he's not going to end the wars. No, he's not going to stop the genocide in Gaza. No, he's not going to lower the price of eggs or groceries. He's not going to do any of that. He's going to take all the money and put it in his pocket. And that's what he's doing. And to put it in the pocket of the rich. That's exactly what he was going to do, what we told you he was going to do, and then he fucking did it. Do you feel stupid? Because you should, because he lied to you. I'm not saying the Democrats have been able to offer something better. No, that's one of my biggest criticisms of the Democrats, is they don't offer anything better, and they haven't been offering any significant resistance to Donald Trump. But Trump, if you voted for him, I mean, and you actually believe that stuff, and you're taken for a ride. And you know what? We're all along for that ride. We're in the trunk right now, okay? The rest of the country, we're in the trunk. While this car is careening right off the side of a freaking cliff. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, okay. Look, you say, oh, all right, look, no need to be salty, guys. Yeah, okay, we're witnessing the end of our democracy, fascism that's here, the bankrupting of, regular people. I think I've got the right to have a little bit of salt here. Just a little bit. A little grain here and there. All right? I think we all have the right to be a bit salty, okay? But hey, look. I guess now if you want to escape the crippling debt from your student loans, all you have to do is just become a member of the Trump Gestapo. I mean, one of the agencies, okay, one of the parts of the government that actually didn't get cut but expanded was immigration. They got $170 billion thanks to the Republican bill. And so now, not only are we going to fund deportations, concentration camps, all that stuff, okay? But we're going to be funding more ICE. More ICE agents, like 10,000, I think they want to hire. So there you go. If you want to escape that debt, just, work for the Gestapo. Hey, and if you're not entirely comfortable for that, you want to see something, oh, that's okay. We'll throw in a bonus too. So that, you can forget your humanity. Hey, man, I got debt. What are you going to do? I can't afford to make my student loan payments, so I guess I'm just going to have to become a Nazi. That's what they want you to do. This is how desperate people can get sucked into doing terrible things. And no one is doing more terrible things right now than members of ICE. Will DePillar, senior vice president of EdTrust, an education-focused nonprofit, said this, quote, "The Department of Education is effectively putting other people's cancellations on hold while fast-tracking this other group of folks who haven't done anything to warrant cancellation. To me, it's outrageous, and it shows where the priority of this administration is." Yeah, the priority is to go after immigrants. That's it. to scapegoat them, to assault them, to do crimes against humanity against them because they don't think of them as human. That is what the focus here is. It's racism. Plain and simple. Okay? I mean,
The Republican Party's racist.
absolutely. Look, here's the thing. If and when we make it out of this, this is why we can't put things back to the way they were. That's not good enough. That's not going to cut it. Okay? So for the Democrats that are like, we just need to return to normal. Not going to work. You know why? Because the way things were led us to where we are right now. It led us to Donald Trump. 2 Trump terms. I don't know, probably 3 Trump terms. Maybe 4 if they have their way. Look, we can't just fix these things. We've got to make things better. Unfortunately, in order to do that, we have to suffer through the mess that we're in right now. And then maybe, hopefully, make it out on the other side. And when we do make it out to the other side, which I intend to, I'm a survivor. Okay? If and when we do, well, then we've got a lot, and I mean a lot, of work to do. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.